Hey everybody, this is Linda Misigatis, and you're listening to An Unconventional Guide to Success, the show that talks about real life with real people for those of you who are interested in learning from others the steps they took on their journey towards success as defined by them. Hey everyone, welcome to An Unconventional Guide to Success, the podcast. I'm excited to be here in the studio today with my host and friend, co-host and friend and colleague, Scott Montgomery, and with our very special guest back in the studio with us, Nick Kittle.
Hey, everybody.
Mr. Kittle, welcome.
Yeah, welcome for sure. If you all remember, Nick has his own company, Sustainovation, and we thought it'd be fun to check back in. I know Nick's been doing some amazing things out there, and we thought it'd be fun to do a look back and see like what are all the amazing things Nick was doing and some of the crazy things he's got planned for this upcoming year. So.
Well, his company name, is that really a word?
Sustainability.
I mean, really?
Well, Nick is great
Is
at
it
creating
a
new
word?
words anyway. So,
he created a word.
Didn't you create
Please
that
start
word?
us
Wasn't
there.
that yours?
Yeah, this word is mine. I trademarked it. It is a word, and I'm big on. And Linda knows this. I'm big on sniglets. Any word that should be in the dictionary but isn't. I love making up words because every single word we use today was made up by somebody. So why not you?
That's right. Absolutely.
That's right.
No, it's funny. I do
That's
think
right.
about that once in a while. I'm like, who came up with that? And you're right. Just somebody decided that's what it was, and now it's a word. So I agree with you.
Yeah.
Why not? We should have the freedom to create our own words. So
I think we should have the Sustainovation to do whatever we want.
There you go.
Yes.
Is that the right use of the word? Okay,
That's totally wrong, and you owe me money. Just kidding.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not allowed to use it.
Yeah, that's right. It is trademarked, Scott. So please use it appropriately.
Sponsor rates just went up. Sponsor rates just went up. Alert, alert.
Absolutely. No, that is so funny. I love it.
No, that's good to see you, Nick. And I love that word.
Me
That's
too,
great.
I do too.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, talk a little bit about what you were doing since last time we talked, and then tell us a little bit about what you got planned on the horizon.
Oh, goodness. Well, it's great to be back and great to see you all, and nice to see the furthering of this work because it's so valuable to see, how that unconventional role can just change throughout the course of people's lives and how it leads you to a wonderful journey. And so my journey has been incredibly unusual, I think, since the last time we spoke. I'll say that I just finished a blinding month, predominantly in the state of Texas, 8 different locations,
Wow.
7 different customers, some multi-day events. Had the chance to work with NASA in there, which was
Wonderful.
a life goal checked off the list. So that was really exceptional.
So cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations.
So that was a lot of fun.
NASA.
Absolutely.
And then working on for this year, let's see, we got the hat right here, the Beyond the Smoke events.
Yes.
Yeah.
There it
So
is.
we've got,
there it
We
is.
love
I was
that.
going to ask if that was what was happening in
Yeah,
Texas
so we'll
or not.
be
Yeah.
doing 5 of those, possibly 6 this year. I had somebody reach out yesterday who's got an interest, so really excited to bring that to life again. And yeah, we've just got a lot of momentum around that, and that was my goal for this year was to try and get at least 4 of those going, and we seem to have at least 5, if not 6. So that's really exciting.
That's phenomenal.
What is it? Tell us the name of
Beyond
it again.
the
Smoke.
Smoke.
Beyond the Smoke.
Let me see
Beyond
that
the
hat again.
Smoke.
Let me see
Yeah,
that
right
hat.
here. Here you go. Yeah, isn't
Look
that
at
nice?
that hat. Oh, that's nice. Okay,
Yeah.
so Beyond the
Yep,
Smoke.
Beyond the Smoke.
We got 6 clients queued up for us.
Yeah, so this is a really cool event. One of my frustrations has always been that when you go to events about teamwork or leadership or life, any one of those things, conferences are talking head events. They're not about the experiences, and I don't think you can learn teamwork or leadership without actual experiences. And so what we did was I partnered with a grand champion Pitmaster, a guy named Harry Sue, who won season 1 of the Food Network's Barbecue Pitmasters. He's won over 100 different events.
Nice.
And I partnered with him to create a unique 2-day event where day 1 is a mock barbecue competition where you learn from Harry Sue how to cook barbecue. And you got to come up with a team name. You got to pitch your plan. You got to do all these great things. And then day 2, I come in and sweep in with a variety of experiences to tie together day 1, as well as run you through teamwork and leadership and life experiences. Because I also think that most of what we should be engaged in is not just let's improve your skills. Fine, that's great, but let's improve your life. And some of that's improving skills, but some of that's talking candid about what it takes to live a better life. So that's the event. There are 2-day micro conferences coming to regions around the country. And we'll be announcing next week. So that's pretty exciting.
Very exciting stuff. I love what you're doing with this.
Enrichment. Yeah.
Yep.
Linda, that's great.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
some
you were
really,
talking about it
it's
too.
some really cool stuff that Nick's doing, and I love that, it's still again very focused in the government space because that's it's so necessary, and I love that you incorporate the life skill side of it as well because I agree with you. We put so much focus in on work, 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 work. And you are
Mhm.
better at work when you're a better person. If you're happier in your life, you're going to be happier in your job. If you feel good about things, you're good. That's going to come through in the work that you do. Because we've all
Mhm.
experienced those, Eeyores who just walk around with the storm cloud over their head, and chances are pretty
Oh,
good it's something in their life that is affecting them. It's not all about the job, and we
sure.
do have a tendency to make everything about work. So I love how you're incorporating
Mm.
all that together. So
Yeah, being human at work
Yeah.
sounds awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Imagine
don't
the
want to go too
concept. I
radical
don't
here,
know.
Scott, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Right, right,
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
Sounds
heaven
very
forbid that we might actually enjoy our lives while we're working.
Right? Yeah. Novel
Yeah.
concept. Yeah, exactly. No, it's very good.
I don't know.
No, I love it.
I don't know. Creating
Go ahead, Scott.
I think it sounds fantastic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I was just elaborating on I was riffing off it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's good. So talk about some of the locations where you're doing the Beyond the Smoke, because I remember last year you did McKinney, right?
It was Allen,
Because I
Texas.
think
Yep.
that UKG was able,
That's
Allen, that's
Yep.
right. And
wow.
I think we got the opportunity to sponsor on that one. Hopefully, we're sponsoring some more of those this year,
Mhm.
which will be fun. But talk about some of the locations where you're doing this.
Yeah, you did. And well, I'll say, truth on that, which I couldn't have done it without UKG and Resource X jumping in and sponsoring. But I was lucky enough to partner with a host city, city of Allen, Texas, which is a really innovative, forward-leaning community that I've done work with in the past, and they're always open-minded. So they were what I'll say is an easy pitch. They said, "You got a wild idea? We'd love to host it and try it out with you." And I was blessed to see it
Awesome.
fly. So Allen, Texas, we're coming back again. This is going to be an
That's
annual recurring
great.
event in Allen. The goal is to do
Oh, how
these
fun.
as recurring events around the country. So
Yep.
I'll tell you all
Yeah.
next week. We'll make the formal announcements, but we're going to do. So this is first release right here. But
All right, right
wait,
here,
wait, you
right here
heard
on
it
our
Okay.
first.
podcast,
Whoa.
Scott.
This is
We
so
heard it first.
unconventional.
That's right.
So hype it up. But
Please.
what we've got is we've got Brighton, Colorado. So we'll do an event here in
Okay.
Colorado. I was grateful to have
Okay.
Brighton jump in and
Great.
say they're interested. We've got
Yeah.
Chamblee, Georgia, which is the Atlanta area of Georgia. So really excited
Okay.
to see that.
Oh,
I already
good.
know we're going to sell out that event because there's a lot of barbecue smack talk already going down, which is great.
Oh, I'm sure.
Um,
I'm sure.
We got Gulf Shores, Alabama, as well
Wow.
as Cincinnati,
Okay.
Ohio.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the one who
Wow.
came in yesterday is I'm trying to partner with some folks to possibly figure out Boise, Idaho.
Oh,
So
that'll be a good one
yeah,
too. Yeah.
You got to throw some baked
I'm
potatoes in
down.
there, I
Like
think, right?
Harry, what I've learned about Harry is
Absolutely.
he can cook anything, and he can do it on a
Oh, I
barbecue.
bet.
So
Okay, good.
like you could throw a rubber
I'll bet.
shoe, and he'd be like, "Well, let's just put some, let's put some seasoning on it. We'll get it over the smoker." And
I like
I
it.
love
I like it. I didn't hear DC. I didn't hear Philly. I didn't hear.
tap the East Coast and smack him around the head, Scott. Honestly, like, hey, East Coast, wake up,
Yeah.
wake
Yeah.
up! Like
Absolutely.
Yeah.
everybody else is
Okay.
loving it.
Okay. So they have to reach out to you. I see.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
this. All right. We'll get
Yeah.
this
For
connected for
sure.
you.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it'd be good.
I love
So
it.
talk a little bit about how you and Harry got connected, because Harry actually has kind of an interesting background, right? Because his roots are in government, which is just so crazy to
Yeah,
me.
it was really fascinating. So I got invited to be a well, the version is I was working with Bakersfield, California, and the
Okay.
police chief had reached out and suggested, he's like, hey, I'm looking for a team building event for my lieutenants. And basically, I don't have a really great idea for this. What I know is I don't want them to shoot anything, stab anything, drive a car real fast, no throwing axes or knives, no, like what I'll call hyper macho male behaviors, basically. I'd like them to do
Right.
something.
Yeah.
You got any ideas? And I said, well, what about, and so I sort of threw out, like, what about doing a mock barbecue competition? We could,
Yeah.
and Bakersfield ran with it. And then 2 months later, I get a phone call from them saying, hey, would you be one of our celebrity judges for this mock barbecue competition? And on day 2, would you come
I love it.
work with our lieutenant team? And for those that don't know, lieutenants are basically the middle glue of the police organization. So their functionality is critically important to our success. And so would you come work with that team, which had some seasoned players and some new players, and just kind of help them to gel? And so I was like, you know what? I could certainly do that. Well, I showed up, and I'm thinking to myself that it's just going to be some random local barbecue company. And no offense to anybody in Bakersfield, but I've had all their barbecue. And that's
Right.
not necessarily.
Yeah, probably not the barbecue capital of the
It
world,
is the
right?
barbecue
Yeah.
capital of California, though. And I'll say that
Oh, I didn't know
doesn't.
that.
okay.
Interesting.
California has
It
a
does,
barbecue
but
capital.
it doesn't count,
Huh.
Scott. You know, like when you throw in Dallas or Texas or Kansas or Tennessee or
That's true.
Georgia, it's a nice try. You know what I mean? Like it's a nice
Yeah.
try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I get to this event and I show up, and as soon as I walk up, and I'm somebody who's won 2 rib competitions, so I follow the barbecue
Yeah.
world. And as soon as I walked up, I recognized Harry, and I was like, "Holy cow!" I was fangirling pretty hard. I was like, "This is
Right.
amazing! Like,
Yeah.
so nice to meet you." And got to go through this process with him. And then I just started figuring out how to tie in the lessons from day 1 and day 2 that tied perfectly into the materials. But what I learned about Harry through our conversation was that Harry actually started out in LA. And so in LA, he was over an IT team in the utilities.
So
And so I have a
Wow.
utilities background as well. So we got to talk in utilities, got to talk in government. And so he actually understands our space. He never cooked in a barbecue competition until it was retirement. And his team, which he would always cook for, dared him to enter a contest. And he won his first contest. And it's been nothing
Wow.
but slap your daddy barbecue ever since for him. And then he won the Food Network, and now he's got YouTube channels and all that stuff with millions of followers. And so
That's
it's really just
awesome.
exceptional. So that was how I got to know him. And then I was like, you know what? I see this in my mind's eye. So I reached out to Harry and I said, I've got a wild idea.
Yeah.
You got the courage to try something weird? And he's like, I love it. Let's do it. And then got Alan in and,
So
got UKG and Resource X. The pieces started to come together. We did our first event, and now we've got a really good rapport. In fact, Harry and I were going back and forth last night to see if we can both get to Texas this year on April 8th, which is the total solar eclipse. So
Okay.
yeah, so we're going to
Oh,
fly in and
nice.
hopefully get the chance to maybe
Good.
spend some time together and just watch that event together.
Aw,
So
how cool is
fast
that?
friends,
great.
Wow.
Great stuff.
It's just so amazing. It just really speaks to what we were talking about, just this unconventional guide. And you think about Harry's roots and where he began and where he is today, totally different. Same thing with you, Nick, where you started and where you are today, totally different. And I just think that it really kind of speaks to what our whole message is that one, you don't have to settle, and two, the path is not linear.
The path is
Yeah, it's a
windy.
windy
Yes,
path.
the path is
Yeah,
windy.
how you
That's
get
exactly what I
there.
was thinking.
So,
Not linear.
yep, no, I love it.
Good
This
for
is
you.
great. What else you got going on with all of your other work that you're doing? Because I see you speaking all over the place, and you've made
Yes,
such
I'm watching all these
great.
LinkedIn
Yes,
posts.
yeah. So talk a little bit about
Yeah.
that work that you're doing.
You're getting your word out.
I'm
Tell
feeling
us what that is.
I'm feeling
Yeah.
the love, and it's really been great. This business is an interesting one because I love what I do and I want to be genuine about how I show up in that space. And so I don't like to say no. So I've learned how to here this year, which has been
Good
a
for you. I'm
one.
glad to hear
Okay.
that. Yes.
Yes.
It is,
Yes,
Progress.
growth.
I like it.
but for me, this year has been a lot of. So I've had the opportunity to do a lot more strategic planning and facilitation type work. We did some deep values dives this last month, which was fascinating. And in Allen,
Yeah.
one of the things we did was we had 4 separate sessions over 2 days with 100 people in the room doing a deep dive over the course of 3 hours on a specific value that they have in their organization and
Okay.
truly drawing out what is necessary for us emotionally to connect with that value, how we go about living that value so that they can create
Mhm.
things like a cultural roadmap. So
Right.
really just very
Perfect.
different kinds of thought processes, which for me keeps it fresh. One of the questions I get occasionally is, you talk a lot about some of the same things, I would imagine. How do you stay interested in your own material and not be bored by it? It's like
Right.
events like this are the embodiment and the living of these values that I value. And so, getting a chance to dust off my facilitation skills and really engage in difficult or meaty topics are a fun distraction from maybe some of the other stuff. But right now,
You know what I land? You know what? You know
Yeah,
what comes
Scott.
up for me right there, Nick, and I'm learning too, is I'm putting together my same sort of genre of facilitation and sort of educating growth and all of this unconventional pathways. Is it's not your material; it's
That's
their material. You're facilitating their material is really important for those people that think you're relaying information, you're orchestrating learning. is what it sounds like. And that can be really valuable to folks when they go into these sessions to understand that they're about helping them facilitate their change and growth. And that's really exciting stuff.
I couldn't agree
that's what
more.
you
I
were
mean,
saying. Yeah.
it really, I look at my job as infotainment, because that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I know.
Another
Sneak
word.
alert.
Love it.
Sneak alert.
Trademark alert.
We got a little bit more time left. I'm going to try and get in like one or two more. Just a side note.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. For sure.
Thank you.
But, I mean, the thing is if I can't capture your attention, nothing else that I do is going to matter. So it has to be interactive. It has to be fun. It has to be imaginative. It has to be playful. It has to be exploratory. Or you're just going to tune it out, and I think that's part of this. And, and then to your point too, my job is got nothing to do with me to a certain degree. It only has to do with the experience you have. So people are like, it's stressful. It's got to be stressful doing what you do. No, it's just me playing and having fun until I connect with you in a way that allows you to have the experience you need. That's the goal.
I like that.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't. I can never do that. So
again. We got to get that.
Me neither. I'm terrible about
really
that too, Nick. I'm like, I need to record what I say because sometimes I'm like, man, that was genius. I can't remember what the heck I just said though. So like to repeat
we
it.
did record it,
we did record that. So yeah, we do have that.
I just realized that.
So yeah, we can
play it back 15 seconds, friends.
Yeah, we can play back 15 seconds.
That was fantastic.
No, I think it's great. And I love what you're saying there too, Nick, is that because sometimes in that type of field, you can find yourself, if you're not careful, absorbing other people's issues, other problems and that. And so, kind of comes back to our conversations around self-care and really being able to make sure that you're being empathetic, but that you're not absorbing everybody else's problems and making them your own.
Cheers.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that for sure. Now, your wife is doing some pretty cool stuff too. Let's plug your wife a little bit because I see her all over social media and she's doing some amazing stuff. So let's talk a little bit about the things she's
doing
too.
If you love me, you're going to love Leanne more. She's,
yeah,
she's even more amazing. When I'm the irrelevant member of the family, that's usually saying something there because she's unbelievable. So she has done some stuff over the course of last year. So a couple things. She was invited to Harvard to speak. She was the White House. Her students were invited to the White House. Now, what my wife does is she's the executive director of sustainability for Denver Public Schools. They are the hands down leader in the nation for implementing climate action. And this was precipitated by their students who demanded climate action because of their climate anxiety. Students today, over 2/3 of students have anxiety about climate in the future. And I don't care where you land on that side of the issue, because if you land on the side that's against the planet, you're wrong.
Right.
So, maybe we disagree about how.
Yeah, you don't care. I hear that you don't hear. I hear that you don't care. I got that.
I mean,
exactly.
Loud and clear.
Those are the things, though, right? It's like we got to call this out and we got to talk about it and we got to say what's okay and what's not okay. And we got to take action because these kids. So here's the thing: it's the only field where the customer has no voice in what's occurring to them.
That's true.
The students don't have the voice, and the inaction by the adults is an irresponsibility of our generations to not respect the customer, in this case, the future generations. And so they want action, and that's what the students demanded. Leanne helped them understand how to create a meaningful voice. They advocated for themselves, passed climate action policy, which is one of 6 policies for Denver Public Schools that guides the entire district. Kamala Harris came out to visit the students and did an entire press thing here this last year. She recently was named the Energy Manager of the Year, the first female non-engineer to win the award. And then this last 2 weeks ago was featured in Education Weekly as a leader to learn from, which if you're in the education space at all, Education Weekly is the publication.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Just a little.
That is a big deal. No, absolutely, Nick. You're right. I mean, that is so cool. That's why I couldn't miss the opportunity to plug what she's out there doing, because she's just
congratulations to your family too.
Thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because she's straight up over it. And I totally get her on that, So she's like, I'm tired of hearing about it. I just want to go do the work, and that's where her head's at.
Yes.
But
that is
they got some cool projects going on. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing.
Thanks for that
I
chance
love it.
for
And
me to go ahead and brag on her. She's amazing.
oh gosh, yeah, no, I couldn't miss that opportunity because I've just been watching all the things that she's been doing and following her on social media as well. And I'm just like, gotta talk about what Leanne's up to. So no, I think that's great.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, what's for the future? Like, what should we be expecting from Nick Kittle and Sustainovation and Beyond the Smoke and all the amazing things? Like, what other crazy ideas you got cooking these days?
Well, I got a couple going. One is that I launched a partners page on my Sustainovation site. So one of the challenges that I've had
Okay.
was I have trusted partners. My challenge has been that my capacity is only my capacity, and I don't have a desire to
Right.
grow my business
hmm
necessarily.
Yeah.
That's not my goal.
hmm
My goal is to live a
Yeah.
great life and to do it the way
Yeah.
that I want to. I'm not looking to be
Yeah.
responsible for other people's livelihoods, but I get requests all the time for, hey, do you offer these types of coaching services? Or do you offer,
Okay.
DEI related work? Or do you offer this type
Right.
of financial planning? I don't.
Yeah.
But I know
Yeah.
players that do that I trust implicitly.
Yeah.
And so this last year, I spent the
Absolutely.
time finding, I believe, 7 of those players and have been working with them
Right.
and just launched a partners page. I don't make any, like the deal is it's reciprocal
Yeah.
arrangement. I don't make
Yep.
anything off of it. It's just
Yeah.
if you want to
Yeah.
know who I trust for that next step for
Wonderful.
you that I can't handle, these are the players. So that's been great because I
Yeah.
get to elevate some well-established
Wonderful.
players, but I also get to elevate some
Yeah.
folks who are
Mhm.
maybe less recognized in the field,
Right.
which has been great.
Yeah. No, I love that.
So
It's that whole give back.
just got that off the ground. And then
Wonderful.
the other big thing is I am 40,000 words into writing my next book. Yeah.
Congrats.
So
Yes.
That's amazing.
I think March I'll get it
Congratulations.
across the finish line in terms of writing, and then there's cleanup, editing, and publication, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this one is very different than Sustainovation. This one is a really deep personal risk for me. Sustainovation was me talking about my work, which was easy.
Right. Yeah.
I've done that.
Yeah. Work
So
is always easy to talk about. I agree. I could talk about work all day, every
right.
day. Yeah.
This book is Level Up, Unlocking Life 2.0. And so it's the story of what I learned after dying and how I live a better life today. And what we need to do to unthink
Yeah.
what we know or we think we know, rethink how it should
Yeah.
actually function in our brains, and then upthink how we can live a better life.
Wow.
And so that's the nature
Fun.
of what's next. And it's a really hard one because if you don't love this, you probably don't love some of me, and that's a little more putting it out there,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're exposing yourself a
Yeah.
little bit
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, being a little more vulnerable in that regard. But
Vulnerability is never
no,
easy. That's
it
right.
isn't. But I love that you're doing that. And I think it's great that you're telling that story and the lessons that you learned from it, because that's a lot of it is that we get focused in on the event, but it's like, but what happened after? And how did you either take advantage or not? Because for some people, they go the opposite direction that you've taken your life. And so no, I think it's great. That's amazing. How cool is that?
Oh, I can't wait. So when do you think? June or July? August? Later in the
I mean,
year?
I think over the summer I can get it out the door. It's really just, this is just the hardest
Good.
I've ever written before because it is like,
Yeah.
this is a really difficult one because it's like, how do you say stuff
You.
without sounding it's like, okay, I live a life that I think many people would love to have elements of. And I don't mean that
Yep.
other than I just want others
Sure.
to have those kinds of
No.
elements too, Um,
Yeah.
I don't have
Yep.
it all
Yep.
figured out, but I definitely have better questions than most. And so maybe I can help you explore what you're missing,
That'll help somebody.
and
I like
tick
it.
that off. So that's the hard part is I go through and by the third, fourth, time I read it, I'm like, scrap it. Like it's a rewrite,
Right.
and I've gotten to the place where I love it, like I'm
Yeah,
getting to
that's
love
hard.
it. So yeah.
Good.
That's
No, I
fantastic.
think that's
Well, I can't wait
amazing.
for our listeners to buy it and get it off the shelves for
Yeah.
you and spread the good word of all the
Definitely have
lessons that
to have
you've
you
got to
come
teach. I
back
love it.
anyway after it's all
Yeah,
launched and everything.
please.
I'd love for you to come back, talk a little bit about it, and share some more with our listeners. You're such a great guest and such a good example of all the things that we're trying to message out there in this podcast and highlight that everybody's journey is different, but it's
Mhm.
all how you.
It's all
Yeah,
unconventional.
it is.
It's all unconventional, but
Absolutely.
you can find very many flavors of
Yeah,
satisfaction
and
and
different
success in
nuggets
that
that you can use to
happiness.
apply into
Mhm.
yours. So all of the things that you're talking about, Nick, is
Well, I
wonderful.
want to turn the
Well, we're
question
so
around on you
glad
all
you
for just
came
a quick
back.
second and say,
Yeah, please do.
tell me what you got going
Absolutely.
on. Like, tell me what's Tell me what's great
Oh,
going on in
yeah.
life right now. I'd love to hear a little bit of that.
Absolutely. Well, Scott, why don't you share some of the cool things? Because Scott's got some cool things working.
So
Yeah.
like you, Nick, and I appreciate turning the tables on that for a minute. But I don't know if you know this. I also wrote a book
Yeah.
once. Linda, I know you know that's
Yeah.
I
odd
know
for
it's
me to
odd for
plug
you to
in.
plug it, but I do remember vaguely.
I don't know why I would put that on our podcast. But Nick, what I'm doing with that book is very related to what you talked about as far as creating workshops. I'm calling them masterminds. The companion guide for the book is due out probably April, May this year. And then I'm role reversing what you're doing and putting those companion guides in accordance to workshops or masterminds, rather, in accordance to the companion guide. So that's been the root of my work while we also build out WorldGate and continue to grow that. So thank you for asking. It's a good run. I'm getting my kids off to college
I was
Well,
going
too.
to say
That's the
that's
fun
the other
summer
probably
ahead.
far more exciting side of it all is that next, kind of preparing. Scott's been talking about kicking his kids out for a while now since I've known him, but I think
They're not
I was
going
gonna say, I
anywhere.
think he has
Community college in my backyard. Now I'm different.
Yeah, so I think he has a much harder time now when the time really comes. The idea of your kids moving on is harder than we think it's going to be sometimes. So.
Well, and our UKG partnership, Linda, is really thriving.
Yeah.
So, our efforts together to get these systems rolled out and these processes for education customers is a big play for us, Nick. So, Linda, you've got a lot brewing at UKG that's really supporting your partners and what your
No, we're
industry needs.
always looking. I love the government and education market. I'm grateful to have the opportunity to work in this space. And, there's a lot going on these days around artificial intelligence and thinking about all of the challenges that government faces and education face on a daily basis. So this is fun for me to be able to do the podcast because I get to hear from different leaders and people in the industry and people outside the industry, and I take a lot of that knowledge and incorporate it back in. And we've got some fun things. We're going to be launching a whole leadership series as well at UKG for public sector, and thinking
Love it.
about a lot of
Long overdue.
a lot of the conversations that we hear in public sector are around how do we measure performance, and there's a lot of pushback in the remote environment, and it's such a bigger conversation because it's not about buying a technology solution that's not going to help you with performance management. It's a whole cultural shift, which is why I love the work that you're doing, Nick, because it lays the foundation for a lot of that. But there's so much opportunity and change for government, and I'm just glad I get to be a small part of all of that.
Well,
yeah.
we're glad to have you amongst us because honestly, you do great work in this space, Linda, advocating for us and helping to raise the profile that good people are doing this work and we care. And that's really, that's it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That is 100%.
And on the performance side, I'll say this too. I'm with you on the performance side. It is something that happens almost everywhere I go. It's something I train on to. With Cartograph's customers back in the day when I was working with Cartograph, again, asset management company, but when I was working with them, that's what I would do for their customers I don't care about the system. I care about how you measure and how you're actually going to go about doing that. And that is change management. That is cultural movement. That requires leadership on so many different levels. So I love that you're doing that for the market because it's the missing element. The software can't do anything without the right mindset behind it.
No, it definitely can. And I know you got I think you and Bob Lavinia were on a panel together.
We were.
And and Bob's going to be really at the center of a lot of this that we're driving because he has such a passion, wrote a book on employee engagement all those years ago. And just that's such he has, again, such a deep love and respect for the public sector environment. And so it's really cool to be able to take all of his knowledge and incorporate that into it. But really looking forward to it. And, I'll certainly be reaching out to you because I'd love to have you come on, do a webinar with us as we're mapping all of that out. I think, your message is just so spot on and it targets the right people.
Spot on.
So no, I think it's wonderful.
Well, on your team, and thanks for being
Nick,
part of my
it's
team.
been so good.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so glad you were able to come back and visit with us. I can't wait to see you. I'll look forward to seeing your pictures because you always take amazing photos. And where's your next climb? What are you climbing next?
I haven't figured that one out. My mental state is on April 8th, total solar eclipse, getting to Texas and getting that photo right. This will be the last time until 2041 or 2044
Holy cow.
to see it in the United States. And I don't know that I make that cut, so I'm going to go get this one.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I
Okay.
think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're doing that. So, well, I'll look forward to hopefully seeing pictures of that then for sure. So,
Yeah, and enjoy March. Settle in
yeah,
and rest up. You've been doing a
Yeah, you got a
lot.
lot going
And
on.
congratulations on NASA. That's awesome.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
hopefully I'll see you at a Beyond the Smoke event
Good
here
update.
soon. So, yeah, that'll be good too.
Absolutely.
Good
Yeah.
update.
Love and light, my
Wow.
friends. Thanks so much
Love
for
it.
having me back on. I appreciate it. And everybody out there,
Yes.
it's all unconventional. Take your own path.
Love it.
That's
Great
right.
way to end.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Nick.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
everyone. An Unconventional Guide to Success is an inspirational, motivated series hosted by Scott Montgomery and Linda Misegatis, recorded on Riverside.fm. Music, editing, and production by Logan Misegatis. Check out Scott Montgomery's new book, How Did You Get Here, and all the helpful related materials at www.howdidyougethere.com. Thank you for joining us on our journey. If you would like to reach out to us, our contact information is in the show notes.